And welcome to Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Open Conversation is the network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Today on Open Conversation, we look at these stories. First, Enugu State. APC to review suspension of stakeholders. And on Ondo State, APC is set to vet all aspirants' credentials. On Benue State, governors camp defiant as APC National Working Committee deadline expires. Then on to Kogi State. Government denies attacking SDP tribunal witnesses. And on Kaduna State, APC suspends women leader for defending El Rufai. Still on Kaduna State, El Rufai's son slams Governor Sani, calls him incompetent. And on Labour Party, Apapa faction counters NLC meddling, Board of Trustees as unconstitutional. On state indebtedness, 13 new governors borrowed 226.8 billion naira in 6 months. Do not go away. When I come back from this break, we'll dive right into the show.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are? The Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte.
Welcome back. It's still Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. With me on the show this morning is Comrade Imiabe Oscar Saviour. Good morning, Comrade Saviour.
Good morning. Good to have you.
It's a pleasure.
Good to be with a fine woman on Easter Monday.
Thank you very much.
The Easter is a good one.
It's a good one. On to the story. Enugu chapter of the All Progressive Congress has declared its readiness to possibly reintegrate those previously suspended or expelled and welcome new members into its fold. The decision was contained in an 11-point communique released at the end of the party stakeholder meeting in Enugu weekend. It will be recalled that Enugu APC has shortly after the 2023 general elections suspended and expelled prominent members of the party over alleged anti-party activities. Those either expelled or suspended includes former Senate President Ken Nnamani, former Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyama, former Governor of the state Barrister Sullivan Chime, former Speaker of the House of Assembly Honorable Eugene Odo, former Director General of Voice of Nigeria Mr. Osita Okechukwu, former State Party Chairman Barrister Ben Nwoye, and recently the member representing Enugu State in the Federal Character Commission Mrs. Geneka Tor. Comrade Oscar, what do you make of this story, this move by Enugu State APC to reintegrate expelled member? Do not forget, not long ago, Mrs. Geneka Tor, after her suspension, also called certain stakeholders and called for meeting to pass a vote of no confidence on the acting state chairman of APC Enugu State. And her grouse, just as well as other major stakeholders, was, the indiscriminate suspension of the gladiators, so to speak, in Enugu State. And apparently, in a move, probably to reconcile, the APC in Enugu State is trying to reintegrate them. Do you see this working out well in Enugu State?
Well, I think that's always been the case in our political system. And unfortunately, what we discuss more in Nigeria's system of government is politics and not governance. Our politicians pay more attention on political members, concentrate more on reintegrating already lost members, instead of thinking about how you can be able to attract development to the people. The level of attention put on political issues by government, it's also a thing that raises so many concerns to some of us. If those persons that were already, I think Geoffrey, the former Minister for Foreign Affairs, and Ken Namani and the rest of them, they actually have their own, they should allow them to go and establish themselves. If APC is thinking about 2027, which is the purpose why the current, I think, Deputy Speaker of the House of Rep, the former spokesman of House of Rep, Benjamin Kalu, also do the same by going to Abia State to see how they can be able to bring back already aggrieved members of the political party, to see how they will unite themselves and come back to work against the current governor in 2027. Reason being that they felt challenged that the current situation or the current government in place is actually doing so much to attract the sympathy or attention of the people. So going by that, it is also very important for them to come together as a political party. And one of his statements, if I should quote Benjamin Kalu, one of his statements was that they are going to make sure that APC win election in 2027 in Abia State. I think this is just the reorientation mindset that is going on among APC shiftings. That's what they have been asked to do across the state. Yes, that's actually what is going on. Because they felt that if they don't go back and put their house in order, it will be difficult for the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to win election in 2027.
And probably that is what is galvanizing, or that is the reason behind this massive reconciliation APC is embarking on.
Obviously, even when the president has not done any harm, but was being accused of his personal crime, of his personal atrocities, or his personal involvement in crime, people didn't support him. As at when he has not become the president, that's talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, people were judging him based on his antecedent as the former governor of Lagos State, the former stakeholder of APC, and also a pronounced and a renounced Nigerian. And based on his antecedent, being accused of being into drugs. He was being into drugs, and also
allegedly.
Well, that's why I say accused. He was accused of being into drugs, and also be accused of so many crimes. The president has been accused, even when he was also accused of not winning the 2023 election, and also been seen to have been declared the winner by the then or the current national chairman of INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu. I think these are all the issues why some of us were also on the call. It's not just to go back home and then think of how I can reunite the people of APC. That's not just a criteria. I think if Bola Ahmed Tinubu will win election, it should go back and think about governance. It is not about putting political stakeholders back together. The kind of money has how many votes? Just one vote. He has just one PVC. Geoffrey has just one PVC. The rest of them is just one PVC. Just like me. Just like another person in Enugu.
This is the thing. When you
just
say,
like, well, so
when you say this stakeholder has just one vote, this person has just one vote, do not forget these are major stakeholders. They have foot soldiers.
See, I can only tell you that they have foot soldiers. I make attempts several times to meet with the then Minister for Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey, in his office. I also make attempts several times to meet with Ken Namani, just like we also have currently, the current NSA advisor, the National Security Advisor to Mr. President, Ribadu. This same person was a then EFCC chairman. And most of the names that are also on this list today, even our current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if you remember very well, when Rebadu was the national chairman of EFCC, he accused Tinubu, or pointed at Tinubu as one of the most persons that have been into crime in the state. Tinubu was appointed, and the same Tinubu that was appointed, a lot of them was appointed, and some of them found on your list was also among those that was appointed as former state governors, former persons that was in charge or that was responsible for the crime, or so much crime, corruption, leaders of corruption. EFCC chairman then, now the NSA, actually appoint them or accuse them of being leaders of crime. But we have a very failed system. We have a very system that people don't think about any other thing. Integrity is no longer an important thing. Morals is no longer valued. We no longer have moral values that is actually being seen into importance. Nobody is attaching importance to all of that. If not, the current president who have actually accepted to be president. In the other part of the world, you see people resign. Now, look at what is going on in other parts of the world where some persons are not being allowed to contest because of old court cases or old crime allegations that was placed on them. But can that be in Nigeria? No. We cannot continue using our resources to intimidate our fellow Nigerians. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu, like I said earlier, wants to galvanize support to win election, just like he said, initially he said, we should try to manage or enjoy the baby pains. And the current vice president, Shetima, came up and said that Nigeria's situation won't be worse like before again. Now, all these are just mere words that are being used without action. We don't want to hear those promises. We are done listening to promises or paying attention to promises. What we want to see right now is action. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the president, must make sure that he gives Nigeria the best aspect of government. That's only what will attract him into 2027. If he must know, I think in 2027, a lot of persons are ready to lay down their life to make sure a lot of things works. We have a lot of people that have committed suicide in the name of bad government. We have some families that have also ended up in divorce because their husband can no longer provide food in the house. Now, the current situation we are passing through, the economic situation we are passing through, it's not a point of concern to the president. It's only concern to how to reintegrate people that are no longer interested in the party. We force them, and now some of these persons,
they were not interested in the party. Mr. Oscar, hold on. They were suspended.
I didn't want begging to come to. I didn't want begging that the suspension should be lifted.
Now the question now is not about governance, Mr. Oscar. The question is about politics.
We're saying the same thing. Now the people that they want to lift suspension on, are they begging to come back? Are they the one begging that the suspension should be lifted? Are they the one asking that they are suspended? Are they tired of the suspension?
Let's assume that they are not the one begging to be reintegrated. As a politician, what do you make of that move by the APC? Now, you are of the opinion that the president should get to work if he needs to be re-elected. The president has not come out to say this is the reason APC is, trying to reconcile issues across the federation. No. Now, this is the political party, the National Working Committee, and also states also trying to make sure that issues are being trashed. Look at Edo State, for example, how they are during their Guba primaries. What happened? It happened the same issue that APC had, PDP had the same issue, Labour Party had the same issue. Now, Shoaibu has gone to court. INEC dropped the Apapa-led faction candidate and went with Abure-led Apata. But when you look at APC tried to reconcile Obeblo and Idahosa, and at the end of the day, Obeblo was the flag bearer, and Idahosa, who was the parallel candidate and who was threatening to go to court, became the running mate. That's the wisdom that APC so far has applied. And now, aside those states, across board, you see APC in different states making moves to reconcile their members. I'm asking you what the political implication of this is. Right. So, just let's limit it to politics.
See,
Mr. Oscar.
I am not talking as a politician. I am a human rights advocate. I'm a comrade. And I am not here to talk to favor any political gladiators. I'm not here to favor whoever has done Nigeria so bad. that we found ourselves in a case where those of us that are less privileged are finding it very difficult to earn a living or to survive in the midst of the hard economic situation. We have a bad government, and we must say that very clearly. Even the current president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is aware that his government is a bad one. Even the vice president, Shetima, is aware that his government is a bad one.
That's your opinion.
That's not my opinion. That means if you say that's my opinion, that means you're not going down to the community level. Because
I think speaking for yourself.
No, I am not speaking for myself. I am speaking for more than 1,200,000, more than 100 million Nigerians. If actually I'm not mistaken, I can very much tell you that within the period that Bola Ahmed took over as a president, a lot of harms have happened to Nigerians. And we are not saying that the president should concentrate so much on his political family. The more attention paid on his political family, and then pay less attention on governance, on the people's welfare, it should be more important.
Now, if I may ask, Comrade Oscar, what has APC in Enugu State, not APC National Working Committee here, APC Enugu State chapter, trying to handle the crisis they have and reintegrate suspended members?
We are going to that. That's why I said.
What has it to do with the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
All this.
You're linking it to the president because it's an APC-led government.
Then you got it wrong. All this is just for 2027. See, the reintegrated system try to galvanize support for the political party APC. Try to ensure that party faithfuls or party stakeholders does not stay out of the party system. Try to make sure that some bigwigs or heavyweights, political bigwigs in the state does not or do not go to another political party as a point of challenge that will give them a political tussle in the next election. It's also another antics by the current leadership of APC to ensure that the APC is actually formidable enough to withstand the next election.
Right.
But the point here is that if you actually think that these persons are the most important set of people because you consider them to have foot soldiers, now you go to their constituencies to see how many persons they have actually empowered. Now the case in Enugu State is not a case that is peculiar to Enugu State alone. We are looking about the 36 states of the country. And I just said that it is actually a directive of the NWC of APC to see how they can be able to reintegrate other aggrieved members, even those that was against the current president and their APC members. Right. They are trying the best they can to bring them back to the party so that they can be able to stand the system in 2027. You see, currently, so APC stakeholders in Abuja have actually made a statement that if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu do not act well, that he will not get 2% votes in Abuja. I'm sure you've heard that statement from some APC members in Abuja. So if they have promised the president that if he's not careful, he will not get 2% vote, that means there's a serious challenge even in the political party. And that's why Shetima is going about making some statements and think that Nigeria want to depend on statements. Nigeria does not depend on statement. What we need is action. So you don't go about wearing agbada and we go around to be making so many statements. We see, at this point, our leadership have lost the respect. And if the next thing our leadership is going to lose again is that we are going to take laws into our hand. We are ready to be judged.
We can't be saying that on national.
We are ready to be judged.
That statement is inciting.
It's not inciting. I'm telling you that I am suffering.
Comrade Oscar, hold on. When you say you're going to take laws,
I am not saying I said we, Nigerians.
Who are the we? When you now say you're speaking as one man, now you're speaking as one man,
okay,
being a voice, assuming yourself, putting it upon yourself, the cassock of a public speaker for the entirety of Nigerians according to you, and you're now saying we are going to take laws into our hands.
That's the problem.
You cannot, no. Comrade Oscar.
Let me come
in. I will stop you at this point. I won't stop you at this point, Comrade Oscar.
Why are we always in support of government and against the
Hold on, sir.
No.
Comrade Oscar, when
does not
I will
saying that the government should take laws into the hand, you support the government.
You have made a lot of statements.
Okay,
but when you come on national TV and you make inciting statements, and you make strong-worded statements, you make strong-worded threats to the tune of we are going to take laws into our hands, even if I am going to be jailed, even if that statement cannot stand.
Okay, can I come in?
So I need you before we move forward. I will need you to take it back.
Can I come in?
I will need you.
Excuse me.
Comrade Oscar, you have to take that statement back. You cannot say no. You cannot say on Atlantic Television Network on our medium that you are going to take laws into your hands. I will need you to take it back.
You have made your point.
All right.
Allow me to make my own point.
Can you take it back, sir?
But I have to make my point.
But can you take it back?
I am not under any directive or directs to take my statement
back. That statement is all right.
Now, can I say something?
All right.
It's actually a very terrible situation we faced. Just like we said, when can we get a system when our judicial system will go back and ensure that the masses can have justice as ordinary individuals? We are complaining of so many things. The economic situation of the country currently is enough for us to say some persons are even prepared to die for government to take their life than even hunger to kill them. It's more. See, let me tell you something. As we are right now, nobody is happy. So if you're the only one happy, then thank God.
Comrade Oscar, regardless of how you feel about the economic situation, regardless of how you feel, regardless of how you feel about governance, regardless of how you feel about the president or how the president is ruling the country, regardless of how you feel about politicians and the political parties, you are one man, right? And your feelings are valid. Nobody's taking away the right of expression from you. But what you cannot do, particularly on national TV, is coming out to say words that are inside. Can
I remind you of somebody writes you are mistaken? Can I remind you of someone?
To say words that is treasonable.
Now, can I remind you of some of the things you're omitting? I told you before, I don't speak as a politician. I talk as a comrade.
You can speak as a comrade.
Listen,
without saying, I'm quoting you.
No, can I?
And we are going to take laws into our hands.
Now, can you listen?
Even if we are going to be jailed.
Now, let me listen.
I would need you to take that statement back. It's a wrong statement to make.
Let me list something to you. Currently, based on my human right, I have freedom of expression. You can't take that from me. Now, the government in place as well came and then give us freedom, that's the FOI bill, freedom of information. You cannot take that from us. It has been passed into law. The fact that we are not implementing it, the fact that it is not in use, does not mean it does not exist. The fact that the government does not recognize it or does not give credence to it, does not mean it does not is not there. I have freedom of worship, freedom of religion, and you cannot take that from me. I have those freedoms that could be expressed. I have the right, irrespective of the fact that I am on a national TV, I still have the right to express myself. So it is within my expression as a right to tell myself that, look, if government is not being fair to me, I have the right of expression to tell you that government is not fair to me.
Now,
if government deprives me of my right, I also have or stand the chance or say to the face of government that I stand the chance to regain my right. It is only in this part of the system, it is only in this part of the world that we see our right being trampled upon. And we say because there's a government in place, we cannot speak and express ourselves. I am telling you, the same government has the power to actually go about the current NNPC Group Managing Director, Melekiari, was the same person that employed Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Mobile. Now, as we speak right now, hold on to that. How much is a phone? Hold on to that. 630 naira. Hold on to that. And you say I should not speak on my
Comrade Oscar. Let me ask you a question. When you say we are going to take laws into our hands, even if we are going to be jailed, what does that mean?
I am also telling the same way the government, the same way Bola Ahmed Tinubu was contesting for
Comrade Oscar, that you cannot, yes, I'm putting to you that you cannot say we will take laws into our hands. What you're saying is tantamount to insubordination is treasonable. And you're saying it's on national TV.
I gave permission.
It's inciting.
No, okay.
It's an inciting statement against a government, a democratic system. You cannot say that. You have been expressing yourself, and it's allowed. So when you make that comment, I will stop you. I am asking you to take that statement back.
There is something my people used to say. You can take the horse to the river, but you cannot force the horse to drink of the river.
All right.
Mind you, I'm a grown-up adult, independent for that nature. I have the power of expression, and it is within my right.
Constructively.
Can you please listen?
Constructive expression.
Repeat. It is within my right to express myself where it affects me directly.
Constructively.
Now listen.
It's very important.
Listen.
Constructively and not destructively.
I have always said it, and I'll keep saying it, that in a country that we lost standard, in a country where we don't have standard, in a country where we don't take standard as our priority, in a country where the welfare of every human being is not taken into cognizance, then you expect a citizen of that country to have respect for an authority that deserves to be respected but have refused to respect even itself as agency of government, as parastatals and as organs of government, or the executive arms of government. They all have that right. I made it clear, and I will keep saying it everywhere I go to. Even as I leave your station, I'm going to somewhere else, and I'll also say the same thing. Now, as we speak right now, I am telling you, and I'll tell you before any government in place, not even the IG can stop me, not even the chief of any staff can tell me that I should be afraid of jail. I am not afraid of being jailed. I'm not afraid of being killed. Now, it is also a clear statement. If you talk, you go die. If you don't talk, you go still die. So why don't you talk and die? Now, as we speak, currently, if I must bring back to your mind, because I assume that you're very comfortable in the midst of the hardship. Because if you are not comfortable, you will not ask me to withdraw a statement that actually affects me directly negatively.
You cannot come on national TV. I'll keep saying it to you. You cannot come on national TV or in public space and make destructive statements. You have freedom of expression, Comrade Oscar. Nobody's taking that away from. Actually, you've been expressing yourself for the past 20 minutes. So you have freedom of expression. Now the problem is when you express yourself in a destructive manner and not in a constructive manner. But then we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue. Do not go away.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on The Fact Today, only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics Today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, social economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on The Fact Today, only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Staying with us. The All Progressive Congress has directed all aspirants for the party's April 20 Ondo governorship primary election to submit their credentials and documents to its legal department for vetting on or before next week Thursday. The APC National Legal Advisor, Professor Abdul Karim Kana, gave the directives in a notice to the aspirants made available to journalists covering the party on Friday. Kana said the vetting, which entails citing of fiscal documents, take place from 5th to 10th of April and is to enable due diligence and thorough reports to the screening committee. Comrade Oscar, now Ondo APC is set to vet their aspirants' credentials. Now let's link it to the recent issue with the senator representing Bayelsa Central District, Senator Benjamin Kombawe, who has been accused of certificate forgery. And as of last week, a judge, granted him bail to the tune of 50 million naira. The question is, didn't he submit his credentials to his party for vetting? What is going on? Are parties doing their due diligence?
You see, it's actually a very serious situation. And a lot of our politicians have actually failed to go through the right source. I was going through a statement that somebody dropped on the social media. And the statement that somebody dropped on social media was very simple. It said, in Nigeria, once you become an army officer or a security officer or personnel, you don't renew your paper license again. That even the people saddled with the responsibility of renewing license not also renew their license. That's the custom people and the road safety. The road safety, many of them, their particulars are not renewed. They don't even have particulars to their vehicle, but they don't bother. It's only on the road you see a police officer will be stopping a vehicle for failed tire, and his own tire is even the worst. In our political system, the current APC leadership we have, not just APC, a lot of politicians, because they keep defecting from one political system to another political system. So you can see someone that was a member of PDP, now a member of APC. See someone that was a member of APC, now a member of PDP. And our judiciary system is not doing anything about it. It's that most times our judiciary system has to work hand in hand with the executive arms in times of being independent. Our judiciary system must be very, very independent, and not just being independent, they must also be willing to take actions and not taking directive from the executive arms of government, because they are also other arms of government, and they are saddled with that responsibility. So it becomes a very serious situation when such a system is not practicing the independent aspect of it. Now, the forging of certificates amongst party or politicians or party people, it's actually something that has been going on for a very long time. Certificate forgery, if I say it now, you start having complaint with me, because I know that even the current president also have certificate issue. You see, when they say a house, he who goes to equity must come with who comes to equity must come with clean hands. So it's also very, very important that as a father or as a mother, if actually you're not teaching the right morals to your children at home, it's expected that some of the children will copy from your footsteps. Those ones that refused to follow the divine source or actually follow divine intervention, they will follow you that is actually misleading the family. Because when you have a president that was one-faced, the previous president, Muhammadu Buhari, also have certificate issue and nothing happens. The current president also have certificate issue and nothing happens. You see, it has become something that seems like it's going to stay. We cannot have situations like this because those of us that intend to be leaders of tomorrow, what morals are you giving us? What kind of political system are you actually building us for? We want a system where our people should be concerned and should also look up to the government in place and understand that it is also within their right to express or to maintain sanity in the system. In a case where you cannot have sanity in the system, what do you expect from such a family? The APC as a family, I was very much happy when I thought we are going to have a different political party taking over. But unfortunately, we have a country where we don't think about the morals, like I kept saying, but think about how we can be able to do the Milocon system. And that's one of our problems. So if the court have actually now charged the other person 50 million naira, is it not the same court that the matter of the president was taken to and nothing happens? You see, we must always say that he who wants to do something will do it the way it ought to be done. You see, I am not happy as a citizen of this country. I should be proud of my country. And one of those things that should make me proud of my country is that when I leave this part of Nigeria to another country, I should be able to have some level of difference within my little exposure within Nigeria and outside Nigeria. I can personally tell you that some of the things we have here, it's so disappointing because you can't find them. Come to think of it, our politicians will travel outside Nigeria and they will go outside the country and you will see them behave very well. When they come back to Nigeria, they will also go worse. The Ondo election, Ondo people have actually suffered from so much situation. There have been so much rascality in their political system. And unfortunately, they are not looking at the best way of addressing the political issues in that system. If you feel that APC cannot provide you the right candidate, I am always of the opinion we should look beyond party lines.
That's not what we are discussing. We are talking about APC set to vet the aspirant candidates. Are you saying by what you've said so far that you don't have confidence that their vetting process will end up?
I think I'm actually coming to all of that.
Okay.
I'm actually coming to all of that because, like I said before, a lot of persons are tired of even the APC. A lot of statements, a lot of promises that the APC government actually came up with, even though there was no blueprint from the president. But the only blueprint we have from the president was that it was on Milocon. Outside the Milocon, there was no other blueprint. And if we also must have in situations like this, we no longer have trust in the leadership of APC. Because the current chairman of APC was the same person that the former governor of Rivers State, by Zaire Somezo-Onwike, currently the FCT minister, accused of pocket dollar. And if we have such a person in charge of a political system, do we expect sanity in that political system?
Can we narrow it down to Ondo State vetting aspirants' credentials? That's
what we're saying, because what will come out of it? It's the point I'm trying to raise. Will anything come out of it? Are we going to get a system where interested members will not be able to direct the process? We should be able to have a system where even those, the NWC or those, the legal advisor, can be a man of his word, can stand and say, you are not qualified, even though you are a government candidate. I contested for SUG president during my days in school. I actually contested for SUG president. I was the NOS president, I was the electoral commissioner of my school, and within the period I was contesting, when there was a training committee set up to look into our certificate and all of that, some persons' CGPA was actually not able to meet up. Some persons were able to meet up. Those persons that was on the list of the management aspect of it were asked to drop because we were very much seriously concerned about management candidates. Because some persons were on the list of management candidates. So those management candidates, we tried the best we can to make sure that the management candidate that actually was not qualified do not be qualified. So now if you want to vet a system, if you are giving serious autonomy or power to the legal advisor of the party to take charge of the vetting committee in Ondo State to actually look at the credibility of the certificate and other concerned issues in the party, now allow him to work. That's the point. And let the interest also hold on, because the level of interest in APC is on the high side. And that is also one of the reasons why the failing system of APC is being so rapid. You know, if you notice very well, APC has been failing, but they keep failing more instead of them to resurrect or actually think of how they can be able to redeem their lost glory. That's if they even have a glory. But the situation now is that we should be able to look at the system in a way that the political sector, the political party, should make some difference. It is the leadership, the party in leadership now. APC was the same government that was attacking the PDP government when the PDP was in power. Now, there was a lot of tantrums that were thrown against the PDP government. But is the APC actually doing worse than that? The answer is yes. Is APC doing more than the PDP actually embarked on? The answer is yes. Because you cannot compare the PDP under President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to this current administration. You cannot compare it. So that means Jonathan did better than Buhari. Now Buhari is trying to do Buhari that we also saw like someone that will make us pass through hell is now doing better than Tinubu. And this is the same person that the wife said they were not going to leverage on Nigeria economy or Nigeria resources. So going by what is going on in Odo, people are no longer having interest in the outcome of that committee because it's obvious nothing good is going to come out of it.
All right. The internal crisis rocking the Benue State chapter of the ruling All Progressive Congress has continued to worsen with no end in sight. This is as the camp loyal to the state governor, Governor Hyacinth Alia, has failed to heed the directive from the National Working Committee to withdraw all legal actions initiated by the party. Members within the stipulated 7-day period. Meanwhile, amid the deadlock, Governor Alia has reiterated his allegiance to the National Working Committee. Comrade Oscar, now in Benue State, there has been serious political imbroglio going on. Now, the APC National Working Committee, in a bid to reconcile the issues and also bring peace and sanity to Benue State, asked all stakeholders to withdraw all the cases they have in court. And there was a threat attached to that directive if anybody fails to do it within, and they gave a 7-day ultimatum for that to be done. And failure to do that at the expiration of the 7 days will be tantamount to suspension or even expulsion from the party. Now, Onje, who was the senatorial candidate, then slammed the National Working Committee and said that he wasn't going to, because Onje at some point wrote a petition against the state chairman, Agala, at that time, accusing him of anti-party activities. Agala was later suspended, and the state welfare secretary was appointed to be the acting chairman, but was suspended. The acting chairman was also suspended from the ward. These are the politics that was going on. And then later Agala was also brought back by a court, by court judgment. Now the thing is, there are two factions. The minority faction in APC is aligning with Governor Hyacinth Alia. The majority faction is aligned with the Secretary General of the Federation, George Akume. So it's been this crisis has been ongoing, and actually it's turning violent. Now, with everything that is happening, the camp of Governor Alia has refused. I mean, the 7 days ultimatum has expired, and they are still deviant, and they are saying they will not withdraw their litigations in court. Now, with the incessant violence, the incessant insecurity that has marred the state, what do you think? What is the way forward? And do you see any end in sight to this? Since the National Working Committee has failed to make peace, what do you think will happen at the end of the day?
Senator George Akume, from the very initial, even as a former minister of special duties, if I'm not mistaken, and now the current SGF, it's actually a very serious situation in Benue State. I could remember vividly well in the 2023 National Assembly election, where Senator George Akume very interested in some other candidate of the same APC to get their ticket or to be allowed to be the candidate of their constituency. It becomes a major problem, which Mr. Honorable David Ogewu from Ojo Obi Federal Constituency actually worked so hard that even the matter led to the presence of the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Fortunately, within my 1 week or 2 weeks visit to Ojo Obi Federal Constituency, where I visited Igede and was also among those entourage that paid a visit to the king, it's actually a very serious situation that happens. Though then, Senator Akume was actually the Minister for Special Duties, and when I met him, I think there was so much that I needed to actually have discussed with him. But from the way I see things in Benue State, it's obvious that the level of APC saga across the 36 states, it's not just peculiar to Enugu, Benue State, Rivers State. It's just a very serious problem that it's just cooking. The problem in the APC have not even started, because the interest. Why
do you say so?
The interest is so much that
because it's the ruling party.
It's not because it's the ruling party.
Why
APC is not the first ruling party we have. It's obvious that even though it is a ruling party, and the interests were vested in how it will benefit the masses, and the masses are in support of it, it becomes a very serious #1 party that even the masses will want to remain a ruling party. But unfortunately, we have a situation whereby it's only in APC or PDP that will see more of interest, personal interest, than the people's interest.
Is that not playing out in Labour Party as well?
Well, I am not speaking for Labour Party at the moment, but I think I have not also said Labour Party is in better position.
Okay.
I've also not compared Labour Party to it. I'm not a member of Labour Party, so I do not belong to Labour Party.
Are you a member of APC?
I'm not a member of APC.
Are you a member of PDP?
I'm not a member of any of these political parties.
Okay.
I am not a member of any of these political parties. But as a comrade, I think I have closed persons in each of these political parties that are also in leadership that I can personally call and also get my informations if I really want to get informations.
Okay.
So going by that, I think it's also very important that APC with the current leadership torso across the 36 states, Ondo, Enugu, Benue, Rivers State, and the rest of it, it's going to be a major challenge, because even in Abia State, they even started to cook it, but they just they pile low at the moment, because the current leadership, Governor, His Excellency Governor Alex Oti, is not being distracted with the number of political meetings being held in his state. He has also not made any statement concerning the number of political gatherings in the state against his second tenure ambition, because I think he's just more focused and concentrating on governance and not 2027. And if he concentrates on governance and not 2027, fortunately he will return for 2027. But once he decides to concentrate on 2027, he will not return for 2027. But the APC, as we speak, instead of looking at how they can be able to build their political structure beyond interest, because what is playing out in APC is more of individual or personal interest, just like the case of George Akume. It's the level of interest in George Akume is so much. If David Ogewu has not stood his position, and even when the position was taken to the president, and the president allow this guy to continue, allow this guy to go ahead with his election. This same David Ogewu won election some time ago and was removed by the court, and all of a sudden came back again and recontest in 2023 and got the mandate of his people, because I think he's also changed his own way. He also has a problem, even though I have a very close relationship with him. But he successfully won the election as the House of Rep member representing Ojo Obi Federal Constituency, and is in charge of one of the committee, I think committee in charge of security and all of that. So he is also having a very serious problem in his area and the party with Senator George Akume. Hopefully they might have resolved, or if they have not resolved, I think the problem is still on, because he was not the choice of Senator George Akume. So if the party must actually leverage on the success, the previous success of the party, then have to change their ways and then do the right thing. Because sometimes I heard a statement from someone that also said that if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu do not address his cartel. That the cartel he has is the problem he's having. You see, the cartel most time becomes a major challenge. Now, when the cartel is not looking at the success of the party in the future, but rather looking at their own personal success, it becomes a setback for the party. So as a political party, you don't always concentrate on yourself as a party member, but rather you also think of how you can be able to impact on the people with your strength as a political party. Even as an NGO, if you are existing as an NGO, there is no human impact, no human face in your NGO. You also understand that your NGO will not have any positive impact in the immediate name or the name you try to throw out to the people. If your NGO is supposed to be in charge of governance or in charge of human welfare and you're not meeting up, you will not be known. So as a political party, I think it is also very much important that they pay more attention to the people welfare, in as much as they are a political party. Paying more attention on their personal interests is destructive, and it's also causing the party more harms. It's also the reason why the current leadership of the party, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not meeting up, because instead of the party to be taking charge of some of the lapses of the president in their various states, they are busy fighting personal interests. Now the president is not able to meet up to the 36 states. So it is the duty of his political structure or political family to go across the various states and then think of how they can be able to deliver the manifesto. If it's going to be the Emilokon, if you said the Emilokon was meant for president, now I can say it is Emilokon, my own Emilokon in my village. Meaning that it's my own time too to survive in my village. Since it was the time of Tinubu to become president, I can borrow that language in my village and go to my village and say Emilokon, meaning it is my own time to survive. This is my own government. So if as a youth, I go to my village and say this is my government because I'm benefiting from the government, or not just because I'm benefiting directly, but because the dividends of democracy given by the directive of the government is also getting down to the grassroots level. Do you think the people will complain? The people will not complain. But when the party keep fighting, like in Rivers State, we have one man in charge of PDP, one man in charge of APC. And how do you succeed as a political party? Just some week, the FCT minister, the former governor of Rivers State. We are not. But we are talking party issues.
We are not discussing Rivers State.
But it's party issue.
We are not. No. What we are actually discussing is the imbroglio going on in Benue State.
We are also linking that to other states. It's also affecting other states.
We are out of time for this story, and it's time to go on a break. Yes. So we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll look at El Rufai saga. Do not go away.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
No matter how tough the challenge is overcome.
Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back. The All Progressive Congress Kaduna State Chapter has suspended the state's women leader, Hajia Mariam Mai Rusau, for defending the immediate past governor Nasir El-Rufai over controversy on the state's debts. It would be recalled that the state governor Obasani recently lamented the high debt profile he inherited from Nasir El-Rufai, his predecessor. Oba, who spoke at a town hall meeting on Saturday, said his administration inherited a debt burden of $587 million, 85 billion naira, and 115 contractual liabilities from the El-Rufai administration. But the woman leader, who reportedly in a viral video rebuffed the governor's remark, saying the governor is ungrateful as Mr. El-Rufai did everything to ensure his victory at the polls. She said that the governor, knowing that there is no money in the state's coffers, ought to resign from office. She said, if you say there is no money in Kaduna State, why don't you resign? Notwithstanding the huge debt burden, he ran from pillar to post trying to get the party's governorship ticket from Malam El-Rufai. It is a clear case of betrayal. Malam did everything for Uba to become a senator and later governor. As a senator, Obasani is the arrowhead of securing loans by El-Rufai administration. He was deeply involved in that, she said. Following her remarks, the APC, in a letter signed by the state chairman and secretary, Ali Maishago and Zaka Bashawa, respectively, suspended the woman leader for gross misconduct. Now, I'm sure you followed the story of Obasani, the governor of Kaduna State, coming out to say he's unable to pay salaries because of the huge debts, he inherited from Nasser El-Rufai. Now, the woman leader has come out to rebuff the governor. And would you say she made a valid point? Because he is already in the system. According to her, the arrowhead that helped Nasser El-Rufai get these loans when Nasser El-Rufai was governor. So he was not unaware of the economic state of the state. He was not unaware of the liabilities and assets he was going to inherit. So why is he suddenly crying, months into his governorship, his governance? Why is he crying? Doesn't leadership trump excuse?
That's a looting strategy. You see, that's a looting strategy. When a government...
A looting strategy.
Yes. That's a looting strategy of the incumbent governor. When any government wants to actually to loot state resources, the first thing you do is to apportion blames and to look for who to blame. Because it's obvious that everybody is conversant and is aware of our system of government. Just recently, was it last 2 weeks, I was actually going through the allocations that went across the 36 states of Nigeria, and it was obvious that some persons that are in government also are receiving some of these allocations. What do they have to offer? If it is a salary state like Cross River, like every other state, and it's just a civil servant or civil servant state, then what else is the state generating? The IGR of the state, what do you do with it? Kaduna State, my last visit to Kaduna State, I think I was in Samaru. From Samaru, I went to Congo. From Congo, I went to Sabongere. And then from Sabongere, I make an attempt to Kafanchan. You see, sometimes when you go through all these areas and you want to see government presence, even in Jaji, where we have the military cantonment and all of that, you see that the changes are not there as a government. So what do you actually do with the state resources that is under your care? But it's quite unfortunate. Even from Jaji to Kawo, you see that there's so much that needs to be done. And it's just unfortunate that you see in a state like Kaduna, even the former governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, actually was not doing well. His statement, his utterances and everything, his threats and everything to government, I think that's why I felt so bad when you were actually taking it up with me, even though I choose not to do that with you because you are not my colleague. But I think at the same time, we always must understand some difference. It's very much important because as we are going forward, I can actually recall so many wrong statements that a governor was using, and we also get to be aware that this same governor, El-Rufai, was actually not doing well in terms of administrative system. and all of that. So it's a really serious problem that we must learn how to elect people that have moral values, people that are also willing to see how they can be able to make a difference in doing better than their predecessor. You came into the government, like the APC suspended women leader said. It's actually a very serious call, which I want to support one of her call, even though I'm not relating that to where she stands or her position. Okay. But I also want to support the call that as a governor, if you know there's nothing in the system, then you resign. That's supposed to be the appropriate thing. If you know you cannot meet up, resigned. That was why we expected that any given country, any given standard system, that the people wants to do better, and you feel that though this place is not meeting up your target, you resign. I was fortunate to be in an organization sometime last year, and I was given a very serious or sensitive position in that organization. And when I discovered that the president of that organization or the leaders of that organization started doing cartel, and they were adding me as a cartel. Meanwhile, it was just how many of us? We have an ESCO that have about 15-man ESCO, and it was just how many of us that was doing cartel. And I told the leadership, the president, I said, Oga, this cartel thing, I'm not comfortable with it too. Because every other person are falling back on me. It is my own phone that is ringing here and then. Save your Oscar. Why and I do like this? I try to see how to defend it, and it's not working. So I have to call on the attention of the leadership of that organization. I say, please, we have to think of how everybody will be inclusive in our decision and policy making, so that everybody will be involved, not look like I'm the only one passing out information. I don't want it that way. So, but when it fails, what did I do? I resigned, and I left the organization for him, even though it was supposed to be a very reputable organization, but I left it for him. And that's the kind of situation that people ought to do. You know, when our greed controls more than what we have to offer, it becomes a very serious challenge. We all are greedy. I also have my greedy part of me. But I learn not to make sure, I learn not to allow my greed to control me beyond the way I should be able to control my greed. So it is within the right of the governor not to start complaining. Why are you complaining? You are the governor. You just started. Why are you complaining? You're just, instead of thinking of how you can meet up, put up some policies that will be able to meet up the demand of your people, and then try how you can be able to build the IGRO, extend the IGRO to an extent that to be able to do well. Kaduna has a very good boundary with Abuja. That means the president and the governor can work very much hand in hand. Now, if you go to some part of Kaduna, you see that the boundary, it's just it's just very close. Some part of Kaduna is in Abuja. So why don't you as well think of how you can be able to do something better with your tenure as a governor? Complain when the governor enters and start complaining. I see that as a looting strategy. Right. And that's my understanding, because you are in charge of the resources of the state. You are also in charge of everything that has to do with the state. So why don't you build your resources? Why don't you build your tentacles so that you can be able to ensure that you increase in your IGRO? If you think of if the allocation from government is not doing better, it's not helping you to actually pay back, because even Nigeria is owing. There is no state in the 36 states, even our country is owing. So if you think that you actually having so much debt on your head that your predecessor actually borrowed in the name of the state, and it's too much for you, and you know you can't pay, and you're looking at the affairs of the state and look at the IGR of the state, the allocation comes in, and it's not something that can be able to make you do better or serve, because you also have to build your own name. But it's unfortunate that our political gladiators do not think about how to build their name, and that's why we don't remember their name. Because if you ask me, after Erufai, in the next 10 years or 3 years now, we don't remember the name of Erufai again as former governor, because he has no name that was built on the people of. No, there's nothing he built that I would say is a legacy. What did Erufai actually left behind as a legacy that in the next 5 years I should remember him for? The only thing I'm going to remember him for now again is that the incumbent governor said there was so much money that he borrowed and that he's not able to do well with. Right. So I think that's a very bad legacy that any governor or any person should want to leave behind. So if the governor thinks that he cannot do better or he cannot improve the state economy based on the amount that actually he has inherited, the amount of debt that he actually inherited, then I think I follow suit with the suspended women leader that should resign. Then the woman leader, if he actually has benefited so much from Erufai and also want to join hands with El-Rufai, and that stands the basis of our defense, then it's totally wrong, because you must always stand firm for what you are doing. El-Rufai, yes, we understand that the current governor tried the best he can in a bid to claim the governorship ticket of the party. He did his best to ensure that he agreed to all terms and conditions and that he was given, and also agreed to work. So if the women leaders consider his position based on his quest to become the party flag bearer, and they make so many promises and agree to so many terms and conditions, and now going deep, he is now seeing that those conditions he accepted are no longer comfortable with him, or they are not comfortable with him, and he has now seen the bad side of it, and he wants to resign. He should resign, because at that point, I'll borrow the word that he is betraying the system.
Right. Bashir El-Rufai, son of former Governor Nasser El-Rufai of Kaduna, has tackled Governor Obasani for saying his father plunged the state into debt. Recall that Governor Sani had on Saturday said the El-Rufai administration left a huge debt burden for him. According to the governor, the state was now finding it difficult to pay salaries as a result of the debt, which is being removed from the Federal Account Allocation Committee. Reacting to Governor Sani, Bashir tackled the governor, saying he was looking for a cheap excuse for his incompetence. Bashir stated this in a post via his X handle on Saturday. He said, "These guys have realized that they are wholly incompetent, and the only way to mask the nonsense is to deflect. From a governor that is always sleeping in Abuja to a litany of incompetent aides that were only rewarded for foolish political reasons, one would think that from all the fact allocations these unserious clowns have changed to dollars, that will be the least of their problems." That's a major comeback from El-Rufai's son. What do you make of that statement? Meanwhile, some stakeholders in Kaduna State came out they called out El-Rufai's son Bashir. They called him out and said he was disrespectful by that statement, and probably the language he used in addressing a sitting governor. But what do you make of the statement by El-Rufai's son, accusing Governor Obasani of sleeping in Abuja and not, in his state of governance, and also accusing him of rewarding incompetent people with political position, alluding that could be one of the reasons for his incompetency? What do you have to say to that?
It's like father like son now. That's a case of father like son, because what is his business in it? That's to tell you that Kaduna was actually an empire of there was totally El-Rufai's empire. So what is his involvement? That means he was also part of those that was signing the money under his father as the former governor of Kaduna State. You see, it's unfortunate that, like I keep saying, El-Rufai was not supposed to be a governor, because the utterances and some of the statement of positions he took when he was a governor, even far here in Rivers State, Port Harcourt, where some of us based, we actually felt sad of some of the statement that he used. I remember some certain times I was actually going from the central area, and I was heading towards Maitama in Abuja, and I actually heard some of the statement that El-Rufai was making on one of the radio stations in Abuja, and I listened very keen-heartedly to get actually what El-Rufai was saying, and none of the statement he actually used was making sense to me, because I keep saying, and I'll continue saying it, and I'll put more emphasis on it, that we should have a system whereby our morals should be able to define our next agenda. We have lost integrity. We have lost morals, and that's why politicians don't choose leadership that actually have what to offer, and the electorate are making so much mistake. We, the electorate, we are making so much mistake, because until the electorate decide that they will stop accepting 5,000 naira, now accepting 5,000 naira to say their vote, we're not going to get it right any day. Until our executive arms of government actually decide that the INEC, like I have always said, INEC is not doing any good thing in Nigeria. INEC is just like something, just same thing like we see JAM, that you actually will write JAM and you still wait for the school to to the school post-UME to pass their post-UME before you can get admission into the school. So what is the need of JAM? Why do you have JAM? When you are still going to buy JAM, go about studying for JAM, buy brochure and pass questions and all of that, study, and at the end of the day, you pass JAM. Then when you finish JAM, you still go ahead and apply it again, pay some other money to the school post for school post-UME. You have to wait to pass the post-UME of the school before you will get admission. That's actually a total fraud in the system. It's the same thing with INEC. Now, why do we have INEC and judiciary? Now we have INEC and we have the court. That's in case of that one. You have to allow INEC to declare you the winner first. So we have two declarations now. We have the first declaration coming from INEC. Then we have the second declaration coming from the court. Now, if INEC have declared you the winner, then you still wait for the court to declare you the winner before you now see yourself as a winner. That means the court is actually taking over the legitimate right of INEC. Because if you go to the pool, and after going to the pool, after the election has been conducted and INEC has declared you the winner, if the court has not declared you the winner, then you are not yet.
No, that applies when there are litigations.
No, the same thing we are saying, because now we are saying that from my point of view. Why I am saying this is because if actually the electorate, we are careful in the persons they are voting, it will help us for the likes of El-Rufai and his son not to come out to the public and be acting the way they are acting, because Kaduna was not his father's property. So if your father is having dispute with the incumbent governor, how does that attract the son of El-Rufai? That's too much of involvement, if you ask me. That's too much of involvement, and I think the son does not have what it takes to respond to the governor, because your father was a governor and your father has been accused. So I think if actually we wanted to justify the statement of the PDP APC women leader in Kaduna State, yes, with the position of the son of El-Rufai, we can give support to the governor of Kaduna, the current incumbent governor of Kaduna State, because it's actually getting to a very clear instance that they were doing a family thing in Kaduna State. That's what I mean, and it's obvious that El-Rufai is that kind of person that you cannot take it from him. So El-Rufai should also think of how he can be able to caution his son and then call his son to order, and think of how he can be able to address his son, because he cannot address his son in another way, because like I said before in my first statement, it is like a father and son thing. So you cannot take it from the son as much as you cannot take it from the father. But going forward, it is very, very important that you must be able, the electorate must learn their lesson and then know the kind of persons they are voting. We have 2027 coming up. We should be able to make sure that we correct the mistake of 2023. We have been making so many mistakes, and we cannot continue to remain in that same mistake. For us to move forward, there must be something for us to do before we can be able to sanitize the system. Sanitize the system is so much that we have to do. It's just like the case of you have someone taking over. We are talking about godfatherism, talking about different things that explain that in our political system, which is not going down well with us, and it's totally wrong. So I think I condemn the statement of the son of El-Rufai on the incumbent governor of Kaduna State. It's totally wrong. I do not subscribe to it, and I think his son should be called to order, because he's not the only son of the former governors that we have. So his case cannot be different. If he has something that he wants to do, he should go and get himself busy outside the country, like every other former governor sons are busy outside the country.
He's in active politics.
Yes, if he is
he has been appointed as one of the he has an appointment pending right now.
It is the same thing we are saying now. So
he's in active politics. So when you say the son of some other politicians, most of them are not in Nigeria or not in active politics. That's how El-Rufai is in active politics.
We have the daughter of Tinubu that came to Rivers State. That came to Rivers State, and she was giving the kind of celebration as if it was his father that came, and everybody started. There was a budget for her coming, both from the Tony Okocha state reps, NDDC state reps in Rivers State. A lot of persons were sponsored. So much money was put in for the coming of the daughter of Tinubu. And when I actually asked why so much budget that was put on for the daughter of Tinubu as if it was the president that was coming, some roads were blocked. So many things that was not supposed to happen happens. I was about having a press briefing, and I was called. No. I said, no, do why? Why would I do that? And, you know, because it's obvious that we cannot have such a situation. It was his daughter of the president that was coming, and you are blocking roads, and you are raising so much budget. It's unfortunate, and we find ourselves in this part of the world. You see, that's why I said, I mentioned made that statement before, that when the poor will start attacking government, it is then that government will sit up. When we, the less privileged, we stand against the government, government will realize and they will come back to their senses.
All right. Labour Party loyal to Alhaji Lamidi Apapa has described the inauguration of the party's Board of Trustee Caretaker Committee by the Nigerian Labour Congress as illegal and unconstitutional. It also warned the leadership of NLC to desist from illegal acts capable of setting Nigeria on fire. The National Publicity Secretary of the party, loyal to Lamidi Apapa, Abayomi Arabambi, who said this in a statement made available to newsmen in Abeokuta, Ogun State capital, called on the leadership of NLC to immediately vacate its national secretariat, saying that the NLC president, Joe Ajero, does not have the monopoly of violence. Arabambi warned that the party will ensure that it puts to a stop the continued meddling in the internal affairs of Labour Party by the NLC. He noted that there is nowhere in the Constitution or Electoral Act that empowers the NLC to administer Labour Party. Mr. Comrade Oscar, you have witnessed the issue, the debacle between Labour Party, Abure-led faction of Labour Party, and NLC in recent times. Now, Apapa-led faction, by the way, do not forget that Apapa-led faction had issue with the Abure-led faction. There was leadership also, which ended in court, and at the end of the day, the court gave judgment in favor of the Abure-led faction and also told Lamidi Apapa, Alhaji Lamidi Apapa, to pay a fine of 1 million naira. Now, they are still coming out. Apparently, they have not backed down from their factioneering, because they are still coming out to speak as a faction to condemn the action of NLC and say that the Board of Trustees set up by NLC is unconstitutional. Now, on the other hand, Abure, after he emerged as the NLC chairperson in the recent convention, national convention held at Nnewi, Anambra State, declared the seat of NLC and TUC vacant and ordered the NEC to swing into action and fill the vacancies. So what do you have to say to everything going on in Labour Party?
Lack of respect first for the rule of law is one of our major challenge, and that's because, like I said earlier, our judicial system is actually not taking up the responsibility of meeting up the target or their core responsibility. Apapa was a court before now have declared that Apapa is not the national chairman of Labour Party. Before now, Apapa case are supposed to be laid to rest, and after the court has given his verdict or judgment on Apapa. So I seriously don't understand the resurrection of Apapa in Labour Party, as the case may be. Some time ago, I was privileged to be on the entourage of the governorship candidate of Labour Party, His Excellency, Comrade High Chief Comrade Beatrice Itubo, when she was nurturing the ambition of contesting for governor of Rivers State. I was privileged to be among the first 5 or first 10 that went with her or traveled with her to Abuja to consult the former NLC president. And when we met the former NLC president in his office, there was some statement that he made. Then Beatrice Itubo was actually considering of contesting under Labour Party as a governorship candidate or to express her governorship ambition in under Labour Party in Rivers State. And she was also not very, very comfortable, but wanted to go to another political party. It was the then NLC president that actually advised that no, that she should look out for NLC, since she was also an NLC person. It was then I came to realize, I came to know that Labour Party was also a child of NLC. because whether you like it or not, Labour Congress, Nigeria Labour Congress registered Nigeria Labour Party. Understand? And that has been the case. So if the problem we're having now is as a result of the high-handedness of Abure. Abure is the major problem that Labour Party is having right now. Because, you know, I think Abure have actually lost integrity. And is not thinking of how he can be able to do better. Because as we speak right now, the challenge we are having right now is that Abure has taken charge of Labour Party like his father's property and order. He's not doing it well. And administratively, he's actually failing. He's actually failing administratively because the administrative aspect of Abure is totally wrong. If it was not wrong, I don't want to start looking at the recent report that was given by Peter Obi concerning the amount that was spent on polling union agents, which I think, when I look at those results, I was very angry. And I wanted to respond, but then I asked myself, why should I respond? I'm not a member of Labour Party. I was only interested, I was only a sympathizer of Labour Party because we actually have a very reputable candidate then in Labour Party that contested for governor in the person of a High Comrade Chief Beatrice Itubo. She is someone that actually has a very good reputation, and I followed that because of her reputation. So, but I also saw that a lot happens in Labour Party from even Peter Obi himself. Even though we wanted Peter Obi, you know, Peter Obi has gotten that thing into his head, and he's thinking that people supported him because he Peter Obi. I did not support Peter Obi because he was Peter Obi. No, I don't support him because he was better off than any other person. No, we supported some persons in my own way. Supported Peter Obi because one, the campaign agenda of Tinubu Emilokon was just his campaign agenda, that it is his turn. Now going by the PDP. Atiku Abubakar, what was his own campaign strategy? Privatization. How he was going to privatize NNPC, how he was going to privatize refinery, how he was going to privatize everything. It was even more, his priority was more about privatization. And we also know that sometimes if he tries to privatize those, the campaign strategy of Peter Obi, it was a bit different from that of APC and that of PDP. So he came up with a very unique one, even though it was not defined to an extent, even though he tried as much as he can to define it. But he said something that he was going to reduce Nigeria from a consuming country to a productive country. So considering the fact that we have a lot that was at stake, a lot of people consider, person like me or others, consider his campaign strategy as one of those things that actually led to our support. Then going by the age of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the age of Atiku Abubakar, and he seems to be one of the youngest and vibrant person, that also draw attention to him. Now, considering the political structure as well, APC has failed us, PDP has failed us. In the days of PDP, we weren't happy. In the days of APC, we are dying totally. So we now say, oh, how do we get some level of revival from this entire system? So Labour Party seems to be the party we were considering to get life in. And that was what give credence or give this level of popularity to Labour Party. So it shouldn't get into the head of Abure that Labour Party will win election in 2027. That shouldn't get to his head. Peter Obi, like we also heard that the ticket has been reserved for him in 2027, which is also one of the interests of Abure. It shouldn't get into the heads of Abure, because that's not even people that supported as sympathizers of Labour Party was not just because of Abure. If we look at it, some persons in Rivers State were not paid. They have not been paid their polling agent money till today. And I can categorically mention some names if I'm asked to. So because we know what happens, even the fans of Peter Obi, the Obi movement, a lot of persons were disappointed, but because some persons just want to keep some of their observations to themselves, so they don't look as if you are going to destroy the same platform you actually give support wholeheartedly, and you now coming back to destroy the same thing. Some persons were just mute and doesn't want to say anything. But going by what has happened, I think it is very, very unfortunate that Abure and Papa under the directive of the APC government, because Papa is APC, APC installation in Labour Party.
Why do you say that?
Apapa
you just accused Apapa Abiabure.
Apapa now.
That is APC.
APC stalwart now. They install him there now to destroy the party.
Why do you accuse?
If Apapa has got judgment, is he not supposed to respect
so
the
how
court
does
judgment?
it concern APC? That's an intra-party crisis. Are you saying that APC has a hand?
Is it above the law?
And hold on, are you saying that APC has a hand in the party crisis in Labour Party?
Well, it's not what I am saying. It's not what I'm saying, but it's what is happening.
You're saying Apapa is an APC person installed in Labour Party.
See, there's a difference between what you're saying and what is happening. I am not saying anything. I am only quoting what is happening. Now, what is going on right now is that Apapa is another destructive agent that have been installed in Labour Party by the APC.
Why do you say that? Why? Because you're making serious allegations.
Now, most of the candidates or most of the persons that emerged as Labour Party political leaders currently, I think they're actually doing well. And I'll give that number one statement to Alex Oti in Abia State. So, you see, with such person or such character, a lot of persons will be saying, if the Labour Party was in charge of Rivers State, maybe they would have done much or also continue with the footstep or do like Alex Oti. Some person will say so. Some person also will say, since what do you call him? Alex Oti is doing well. It has actually attracted the likes of Benjamin Kalu and the other former governors and the rest of them to come to Abia State to think about how they can revive their party or bring life into their party ahead of 2027. No, so doing well is a challenge to them. So when they are not doing well and they see someone that is doing well, they got challenged. And the next plan they have is how to destroy the person that is doing well politically, or how to do more political noise so that the political noise will overshadow the kind gesture of the person that is doing well, so that they will think that with that they can take the center space, which is totally wrong. Now, going by what is going on in Labour Party, if you could see how the crisis in Labour Party recently, it is also trying the best. They are trying the best they can to destroy the party, so the party will not exist in 2027. That's just the strategy. And if Abure wants to allow himself to be used as an instrument to destroy the party, it's his business. I've not benefited from Labour Party. So I am not a member of Labour Party. I'm not a registered member of Labour Party. I was only a sympathizer, and my sympathizing system or situation can always be dropped at my own convenient time. That's if it's not dropped already. So we always must look at what is going on and then think of how we can follow it squarely. If Labour Party wants to allow the leadership of the party to destroy Labour Party by themselves, then it's their business. That's why I keep saying that greed is the highest level of destruction. So I think the only governor they have currently, Alex Oti, should think of how he can personally wake up and then call the entire leadership to order. It is the right or the constitutional right of Alex Oti to go to LNC, call LNC and then call Labour Party together, and then think of how they can be able to put up the structure and unite the party, and not to allow the party to be used as a destructive technique, because right now we are thinking that Labour Party will be the only opposition party in the country, because this sounds to be the only party right now that still have the people who's following it. This is the only party that the people still have concern for. For the first time that people came out to vote, and people, the presidential candidate of the party was saying, we know they give chichi. He was telling you openly to your face. Even the polling unit agents were not paid. They were not paid. In Rivers State, they were not paid. In my local government, they were not paid. So it's unfortunate. That was when I heard the report that was given financially about how much they pay polling unit agent. I was wondering. I think I was in another part of the country, because in my own local government, in my LGA, they were not paid. It was this woman, Beatrice Tubo, that took care of so many responsibilities, even when Peter Obi came to Rivers State. And the first thing he did, even when he has not got recognition with the woman, was Inyandeba. You have not even met with the woman. You have not even talked with the woman. You have not even had any relationship with the woman. I was among those that went to the airport to receive him. Right. And at the end of the day, I was asked to receive him. I was called to receive him from Abuja. And then I went to airport here to receive him. The next thing, when I actually received him and then escorted him down to Ikoku, where I went to commissioned the overheaded bridge that was built by the former governor of Rivers State, now the FCT minister, by Sayeso 1 week. The next thing I was hearing was Inyandeba. How you go there saying Inyandeba? Somebody will go to see from airport. Come here, they're talking Inyandeba. Are you normal? Right. So it becomes a very serious challenge. So I think it is within the power of Alex Oti. It should stand up now and then fight for the party so that the party can get life again. Because this whole system in the party is to destroy the party. And if they destroy the party in 2027, even Alex Otti will lose his own chance of becoming or returning for second tenure.
You're right. In the first 6 months after taking office, 13 new state governors collectively borrowed 226.8 billion naira from domestic and external financiers. This emerged as findings by correspondents show that 16 state governors also increased their debt profile of their states by 509.3 billion naira, with domestic and external debts of 243.95 billion naira and $298.5 million respectively. The external debt was calculated based on the exchange rate of 889 naira per dollar used by the Debt Management Office in its reports. This is according to an analysis of the latest subnational debt report released by the Debt Management Office. The subnational debts are classified into domestic borrowings from local creditors and external borrowings from international creditors like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The domestic and external debts published on the DMO's website were as of December 30 and June 30, 2023, respectively. Comrade Oscar, 13 new governors, less than a year into office. Isn't that huge? The level of indebtedness. Now, do not also forget there is increased FAC allocation coming into the coffers of the states, the local councils, as well as occasioned by removal of fuel subsidy. What do you make of this whole thing?
If I talk now, you will say, man, will bring president inside. So tell me why the president...
I am not saying you should not express yourself.
Why wouldn't the president be involved in this?
You can express yourself without being destructive. Do you understand the difference?
Now, do you know this question you asked me is very annoying?
Well,
the question you just asked me is very annoying. So annoying. Because the question you asked me remind me of the statement of the Senate President, former governor of Akwa Ibom State, former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, and the current Senate President, His Excellency Godswill Obot Akpabio, that made a statement and came back to apologize to Nigerians that he got that information from an unverified source. You see the kind of politicians, leaders we have in this country. It's so annoying. It's so annoying that a Senate President will get news from an unverified source. If me, to say I get news from an unverified source, then a Senate President goes to Obot Akpabio, we made a statement, and having been refuted, to come back and tell the people of Nigeria that he got the news from an unverified source. Isn't that laughable? Isn't that disappointing? Isn't that unfortunate? Now, the same persons, the amount being used to purchase cars for National Assembly members, the amount being used to purchase cars for National Assembly members, the amount being used to import some other things, it's enough to pay some of the debt that we have. The lingering debt we have, now the money that was supposed to be used, now how many billion that Akpabio came out to say that has been released for state governors to cushion the effect of the hardship or the economic situation. I wish he came back and said it was not a verified information, that he got it from one verified source. Now, if it is true of what he said initially before he played politics with it, if it is true about what he said, is it not okay that that money would have been diverted into paying the debt? The allocations that is coming in to various states, including the IGR, what do we do with them? What are we doing with it? It's unfortunate. And when I make statement, you want me to withdraw my statement. It's quite unfortunate that as it stands right now, this is a very sad system. No, it's not. It's just so unfortunate. It leaves people like us with a system that, in as much as the economic situation is dealing with us, should our political gladiators also deal with us to add to it? Now, what is the response of government in terms of the hardship that we are facing? Just recently, NNPC, the same NNPC that actually raised pump price to 591 naira. Currently, today, after so much irregular prices that is ongoing in different filling stations, has come up to say the current pump price, according to them, is 630 naira. What is the difference of 591 naira and 630 naira? What's the difference? Now we have a government that considers that this crude is our crude. Now we have 4 refineries and we have 1 private refinery owned by Dangote. As we speak, if I should actually record the statement of Dangote, and Dangote actually said the Dangote refinery was supposed to start refining so that we can now the pump price or the sales of fuel will be dropped. Now, what has happened to that effect? What is also going on in our already existing refineries? Why are they not working? Why can't this money be diverted into the refineries going into working situation or operation? Why can't we have them that? Why are we having this debt? Who use the debt? Because the refineries are not working. Even the amount that the former Minister of Petroleum, Silva, that contested for governor in Bayelsa State and lost, also promised us that we should hold him responsible if the Port Harcourt refining system is not working. How many persons are going to hold him? If I want to go in now, should be police will arrest me. Now, because he said that we should hold him responsible for the failure of Port Harcourt refinery. Now, as we speak, Port Harcourt refinery is not working with the amount of money that the then president, Muhammadu Buhari, gave to the minister to revamp the refinery. As we speak, it is not working. Now we keep getting promises upon promises, yet nothing is working. How do we have a president that also have a corrupt charge before he became the president, and now you are not doing well to correct the corrupt charges that was against you, and also think of how you can be able to help the people to benefit from this economic sabotage? Now, as we speak right now, we are suffering. Nigerians are suffering in the midst of so many resources. God has blessed Nigeria with a lot of mineral resources. What are we doing with it? What are we doing with the blessings that God has given? Natural blessings we got from God. Now we have all this debt accumulating upon every tenor. What are we doing with it? Our National Assembly, how much their salary, the judiciary salary has just been increased. Has just been increased from how many million to how many million for annually. Now we have all of this. If you calculate the number of billions from FCT to the 36 states in the country, and then calculate how many billion that has been released, that is going out every month, you know that Nigeria is blessed. So what do we do with the money? Because you cannot feel government presence in my village where I come from, Diaguara in Kano, local government area of River State. I cannot see government presence in my community.
But they said SIM is working.
I am not talking about SIM.
Is he not in government?
SIM is in government. So now, SIM is just how many months, how many months, or it's not even up to a year.
When you say not how many months, not up to a year, has he not been receiving increased FAC allocations?
See,
Comrade Oscar, we have within the now, that's up to 9 months. He's over 9 months in office. Now, Comrade Oscar, is he over 9 months in office?
See, we are
I asked you a question, sir. Is he over 9 months in office?
That SIM became governor?
Yes.
Of course it is.
So has there been increased allocation?
They have been, yes.
He has been receiving allocation?
Yes, sure.
So when you say you don't feel government presence, isn't that an indictment on the governor?
It's not an indictment.
But then we are still dealing with the 13 governors that borrowed 226.8 billion naira in 6 months.
That is the point. That is the point. When we have increase of allocation, we have IGR, internal generated revenue, coming up in each of our various states. You also have policies that you are making that is building or improving on the IGR. While you are improving on your IGR, government is also improving on the amount of allocations being sent.
Okay.
Now, as a state government, the money the federal government allocation you get, and the internal generated revenue that you get, what do you do with it? What are you doing with them?
The question now is, what is the way forward?
If I talk the way forward, you will not be angry.
As long as you will not be destructive in your statement.
Is there any way we can have the way forward?
As long as you will not be destructive and you will not make inciting comments.
Is there any way forward that will not be destructive? Because am I going to go and beg them to make use of the money? Because there is no way that it will not be destructive. That I should go and meet them and kneel down, or ask Nigerians to go to their government house and beg them to start working so that we can see. Because if I tell you now that Nigeria should come out on the street and protest against those government, you will tell me it is destructive. If I tell you that Nigerians should come out on the street and then occupy those government houses to ensure that the need for it is done, you say it is destructive and inciting. If I tell you that Nigerians should come out and take laws into their head, you tell me to destructive. Because
that's the destructive statement.
That is the point.
Saying Nigerians should take laws into their hands.
No, someone.
What do you? Hold on, Comrade Oscar. What do you define as taking laws into someone's hands?
No, thank you.
That's breaking the law.
Excuse me, ma'am. As we speak right now, you are not the one feeding me.
Granted, I'm not.
Thank you. The government is not the one feeding me. I am not on government payroll. Neither am I on government voucher. I am on a very serious, I am an entrepreneur. That means I paid myself and possibly take care of whoever is working with me. Government is not taking care of me. Now, I am not owing the government anything. So if the government is supposed to put some life in place, create opportunities that can be able to empower those of us that are into entrepreneur, is this supposed to be the case? Now, when you have a government,
have you assessed loans by the government? Have you attempted assessing loans?
It's like you applied for this office from outside country, because from the way you are sounding, it seems you don't live in Nigeria.
The truth is,
it seems you are not living in Nigeria. Because if actually you were living in Nigeria, you won't ask me that question. How many persons from the community? I belong to the less privileged. How many of us from the less privileged that can apply for something and will get it?
You belong to the less privileged, Comrade Oscar.
Yes, are you not helping me? I'm helping your farm.
Why are you saying that? I'm laughing. You belong to the less privileged.
Yes.
You're saying that?
Yes.
On national TV.
Yes. All right. Now, as we speak right now, if I'm living here to my village, from this studio now, I'm going to my village.
Okay.
Now, if I get to the village, do you know how many persons will see me like one big man has come? As local as I am. Now, some persons still see me like somebody has just arrived. And some persons will run to you and beg you for alms.
Right.
If you know the suffering in our various communities, if you know how we are suffering in the community or at the community level, then you know that it has called for a time for people to occupy even the villa.
All right.
Now, what is going on in Nigeria? What is going on in Nigeria is less compared to what happens in other states. Can you believe that it's only in Nigeria that Ukraine, the country that is fighting war, brought food to Nigeria?
We're out of time.
A country that is fighting